ladies and gents. I noticed that a few of you were still trying to wrap your mind around our lesson on literal equations, so I thought I'd run through a few examples that may help. So the original problem is 6x minus 4y is equal to 12. We're trying to solve for y here, so that's where our focus needs to be. We want to undo what is happening to 4y. So there are two terms on the left side of the equation where our y is. There is 6x and there is a negative 4y. Because the 6x does not contain the variable that we would like, we're going to use inverse operations to move it to the other side of the equation. So all I need to do is subtract 6x on both sides. I like writing my minus 6x off to the side of the 12, so I'm not tempted to combine like terms. All right, so 6x and 6x cancel and become 0. From here, I'm left with a minus 4y, so I'll bring that down. Negative 4y is equal to, and I have 12 minus 6x. Like we talked about in class, it might be easier to get into the habit of writing our variable terms first. So, since I was subtracting 6x, I'm simply going to write negative 6x, and because this is a positive 12, plus 12. Now I'm left with negative 4y equals negative 6x plus 12. Since y is being multiplied by a negative 4, my next step would be to divide by negative 4 on both sides. Now, we can write divided by negative 4, but I told you in class that it might be easier to write it a different way. Let me show you off to the side here. So if I take that right side of my equation, and instead of showing that the whole thing is being divided by negative 4, I'm essentially distributing that to both terms. For me, that makes it easier to simplify. I notice I have a negative 6 over a negative 4 in my numerator and denominator. Negative and a negative is going to become a positive. And I recognize that I can reduce the fraction 6 over 4. That would become 3 halves. And bring the x along with it. For the second term, I have a positive 12 divided by negative 4. Well, that gives me negative 3. Instead of writing plus a negative 3, I'm just going to write minus 3. That's what this will simplify to. So negative 4 divided by itself gives me 1. That allows me to just bring down my y. And on the other side, I end up with 3 halves x minus 3. It looks really complicated, but in 2 steps, I'm finished. Let me show you another. Same directions. This problem is x plus 3y is equal to negative 9. This is actually your first homework problem from the worksheet I gave you. Again, my focus is on the y. I want to isolate that on one side of the equation. So I'm going to first move the term with the x in it. So inverse operations are what I need to use. Since this is positive x, I'm going to subtract x on both sides to keep that balanced. X minus x is 0, so I'll bring down my 3y. And again, I like writing my variable term first, so I'm going to write a minus x. Becomes negative x. And since this is a negative 9, I write minus 9. One step down, one step to go. This time y is being multiplied by 3, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. And like I showed you in the last problem, I'm going to write divided by 3 under each term. 3 over 3 on the left-hand side becomes 1. I'm able to bring down my y. And then I have this on the other side. This might throw some of you off with the first term. I have negative x over 3. However, if we think back to our discussions before, if there's no number in front of the x directly, we know there is a 1 there. So I have negative 1x over 3. Well, my numerator will be a negative 1. My denominator is a 3, and the x comes along with it. So that's negative 1/3 x. Over here I have a minus 9 divided by 3. Well, a minus divided by positive will still be a minus, and 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Again, 2 steps. and I'm finished. Here we go again. So here I have negative 2x plus 3y equals 6. Again, I want to isolate that y on one side of my equation. So to do that, I'm going to move the term with the x in it. I hope you're recognizing a pattern here. I'm going to add 2x this time because it started as a negative 2x. So to cancel that out, I'm going to have to add. What I do to one side, do to the other. 2x's cancel on the left. I bring down my 3y equals 2x plus 6. Just like the last problem, coincidence, I need to divide by 3. 3's cancel and become 1. I'm left with y equals, my numerator will be a 2, my denominator will be a 3. Bring down the x, and over here 6 over 3 gives me